Now let's look at some practical. What is the time difference between these two times? So if it's 10:30 a.m. and 12 midday means 12 p.m. So you might be able to think from 10:30 to 11 is 30 minutes. And then from 11 to 12 is 60 minutes, or 1 hour. So you could say it's 90 minutes when you add them together, or you realize that that's 1 1/2 hours, because 30 is half of 61 1/2 hours. From 8:15 to 3 p.m., the difference is how many hours is involved. So I can probably think in my head from 8:15 to 9:15, that's an hour, to 10:15, and I'm counting with fingers here. It might be safer to just go up to, let's go from 8:15 to 8:30, right? Because we know our final result is going to be a 30. And that's 15 minutes. So we're going to play with 15 minutes in there. So from 8:30 to 3:30 is a long way. So let's go from 8:30 to 12:30. And I know that the difference between 8 and 12 is 4 hours. And I know the difference from 12:30 to 3:30 is 3 hours. So if I add them all up, the difference is 7 whole hours and 15 minutes. And 15 minutes, you could say 7 1/4 hours if you wanted to, but you have to be careful with that. You can use your calculator to check it. Between 9:30 a.m., always check your a.m.s and p.m.s, to 6:15 p.m. I think I'm going to do this slightly differently, and I know that from 9:30, I like to go to 12 because it just gives me a little stopping point. That's 9, 10, 11, 12. I've got 3 fingers there. So that's 3 hours. And then I'm going to overshoot it just a little bit, 12:30 to 6:30, because I know that's a solid 6 hours. So that gives me 9 hours. But remember, I overshot it by 15. So I'll just take away those 15 minutes. There's a lot of ways you can do that. And that gives us 8 hours and 45 minutes. I probably should write 8 hours and 45 minutes. Converting these to time, so days, I'll go back to my, every day has 24 hours in it. Every hour has 60 minutes in it. Every minute has 60 seconds in it. So I have to do a little hopping around. So I'll convert these times. 3 days is equal to 24 hours. 3 times 24 is 72. Now I've got 72 hours, but then I need 72 times 60 to give us the minutes. That gives us a whopping 4,320 minutes over 3 days. That's a lot of time. Now 30 months in years, we need to know that there are 12 months, I'll write it as a rate, per year. And if you want to be really, really accurate, you probably wouldn't use this because you know that some months are 30 days, some months are 28, and February is sometimes 29. So it's a ballpark kind of figure. It's not really always the best way. So I know when I'm going from months to years, just like I'm going from anything smaller to larger, then I'm going to end up doing division. Because if I divide 30 by 12, if I just think about it, 2 12s is 24, so that's 2 years, and I have a little bit more. 30 divided 12 gives me 2.5, 2.5 years, and that makes sense. To go the other way, years and months multiply by 12. Write these times using this system given in brackets, 24-hour time. So 4:30, to that it's really simple. I've got 4:30, and to that I'm going to add a 12. If you want, you write it like that, I don't really mind. So that gives me 16:30, and I do not write PM because 16:30 says it's 4.5 hours after 12. And so this one, we want this in ante-meridian, post-meridian. So the same thing, but opposite. 14:45, take away 1200 to be sure. That gives us 7:45. And because this original was more than 12, that means that that's 7:45 p.m. Or else 7:45 a.m. would look like 0745. And there she blows.